Hello, 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 and welcome back to another ASMR story time. I hope that you had a pleasant week, and if you didn't, then I hope that this story time can give you a small window of joy. I've had a few people ask if I'm going to do different kinds of ASMR. And eventually, I would like to try other things. But for now, I'm most comfortable reading bedtime stories. Bedtime stories are a very familiar comfort to me, and I'm sure one that's familiar to many people as well. A lot of us grew up with our parents, friends, grandparents, and even local librarians reading us bedtime stories. In the future, I might try giving other types of ASMR a chance. But for now, if it's alright with you, I'll stick to reading you some bedtime stories. The story that I've prepared for tonight is one that excites many people. It's called Puss in Boots. Now, I hope you can settle in, grab yourself something warm, and relax as we start the story of a mischievous little cat. Once upon a time, an old miller gave his windmill to two of his three sons, but he gave his cat to his youngest son, David. The cat was called Puss. Being given just a cat didn't seem fair, and David was just a bit upset. His two brothers were happy with the windmill, but they didn't want David staying with them. David sat under his thinking tree, where he always went to think things through. He thought to himself, Puss and I can live in that little house in the woods. David heard a voice behind him. Get me a pair of boots. David looked all around, but all he saw was his little orange cat. But he nearly jumped out of his skin when Puss said, Oh, you'll need a bag as well as the boots. You can talk? David said nervously. Yes, but keep it quiet. Get me the boots, and you will never have to work again. Why do you want boots? Asked David. Oh, just fancied a pair, really, answered Puss. Oh, and don't forget the bag. If I never have to work, think of all the good that I could do for other people, thought David. Right, said Puss. So off we go to the shoemaker, he exclaimed. Boots for the cat, said the shoemaker. I've never seen a cat in boots before. And a little bag too, please, remarked David. The boots and the bag were ready within the week. Puss pulled on the boots and posed in the mirror. As David and Puss walked back home, they saw a tree with beautiful ripe apricots. David picked one, and it tasted delicious. I have an idea, said Puss. Pick about 10 of those apricots, please. You see, I don't have any fingers. I only have claws. Oh, of course, agreed David. Pop them into the bag, please, Mr. David, said Puss. Then I'm going to carry out the first part of my plan. After a little walk, they arrived at the king's palace and knocked on the door. The doorkeeper asked, Who is it? I've got something delicious for the king's dinner, said Puss. The doorkeeper said, he's in the garden, playing tennis with his daughter. Puss watched the king and his beautiful daughter, the princess Elisetta, finish their tennis match. She had beaten him again, and the king threw his racket down on the grass. Your Majesty, began Puss, I have something in my bag to cheer you up. Oh, said the king. The king's eyes widened when he laid his eyes on the big apricots in Puss's bag. They were sent to you by my owner, Lord Marquis of Carabas, lied Puss. Go back and thank him for this scrumptious gift, said the king. The princess called to the butler, give this excellent talking cat a glass of our finest milk, she said exuberantly. Over the next few days, Puss returned again and again with more apricots for the king. David was amazed when Puss told him about this imaginary Lord Marquis of Carabas. One day, Puss came home, his bag empty of apricots, and told David to go to the river for a little swim. While he was having a lovely little swim, Puss took all of his clothes and hid them behind a bush. Just as clever Puss had expected, the king's carriage came along, and as soon as Puss saw the carriage, he cried out, Your Majesty! My owner was swimming, and someone stole all of his clothes. We can't have that, can we, dear? He said to Princess Elisetta. No, Daddy, said the princess. He sent all of those delicious apricots, so we have to do something, she replied. The princess headed on back to the palace and picked out some of the finest clothes. She told the butler to wrap them up and take them back to the river. The butler handed Puss the clothes. Puss then told the butler to go back to the palace and tell the king and Princess Elisetta that his owner, the Marquis of Carabas, would be honored to have their company for tea. David was now dressed in such magnificent clothes that he really looked like a prince. I don't think they'll like our little house in the woods, David said. I have a plan, David, replied Puss. Follow me. They came to a field where threshers were pulling wheat. Harvesters, said Puss in a loud voice. The king and Princess Elisetta are coming. Can you please say that these fields belong to my owner, David? Now, a giant owned a castle nearby, but he was away on holiday, so David and Puss slipped inside. The king's carriage drove by, and the king asked the threshers whose fields they were in. To the king they said, the Marquis of Carabas, and he was very pleased. The king and Princess Elisetta arrived at the castle, and Puss walked out to greet them. Your Majesties, welcome to the home of my dear owner, the Marquis of Carabas. And in they all went. The minute David and Princess Elisetta looked at each other, they fell in love. The king was very impressed with the castle and asked David if he would like to come to the palace to play tennis with them. It wasn't until long that the king realized the couple were very much in love, and he agreed that they should marry. Do you have any plans for the future? Asked the king. We buy the windmill, says David, so everyone in the village can have free bread forever and lots of fruit from our trees, continued David. Keep some apricots for me, won't you? Begged the king. And what about you? Asked David to his cat. What will you do? There are plenty of fun and games ahead for me, said Puss with a wink. Soon after, David and the princess were married, and they lived happily ever after. The end. Don't you love a happy ending? I know I do. Well, it might be a little bit different from the story of Puss in Boots that so many people are familiar with. It's another tale that leaves you with a good feeling at the end of the night. I hope that you enjoyed this little ASMR story time. If you liked this video, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for the next one. Good night. Good night. Good night.